So this morning, we have breakout rooms for anyone who would like one-on-one prayer. And so you can send a message to Larry and he will set that up for after the service. Or if anyone here today would just like to raise their hand, if they want prayer after the service, then Dawn is our prayer chaplain today. So thanks, Dawn. And so we have on September 8th and 9th, Unity World Day of Prayer is coming up. And Unity Village has a really great program that they are offering based on the theme of all is well with my soul. And many of you may know that hymn, all is well with my soul, that may come to mind right now as I mention that theme. So to take advantage of what Unity World Day of Prayer is offering, you can register at www.unity.org/WDOP. So you can go online and register. So if you want to take part in the Unity World Day of Prayer, you have to register. There is no charge, but you do have to register. And so today we just set aside all of the concerns and the activities. And so we just sit deeper into our chair, just close your eyes if you feel like doing, and we just go into prayer. And so as we come together this morning, we are grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with our Unity community. We bless everyone attending all spiritual gatherings, knowing that there are many paths to the one God. We bless all those watching online and all those at home who are using this day to take care of themselves or their family. We especially bless the people of Afghanistan, praying that the new leaders will show compassion and acceptance for all of their citizens. We bless our own Canadian leaders, praying that they set aside ego and focus on the highest and best for all as we move closer to a Canadian election. We pray for all who may be feeling anxious and uncertain concerning their health and safety, affirming that we are children of God and we do not inherit illness. We lift up anyone who is experiencing any challenges, trusting that the highest and best is unfolding for them, and that the love of the divine spirit is surrounding them right now. We take this opportunity to hold anyone that you wish in blessings and prayer, and to speak their names quietly into this space. We bless our fellow Unity churches, Unity of Winnipeg and Unity Christ Center of Truth in Etobicoke, Ontario. And so as we move forth into the day, we understand and affirm that I am one with all that is. And so it is, and so I let it be. Amen. And so today, Sylvia Square, our platform assistant, will share the daily word.
Well, thank you for such a wonderful prayer. I really had been missing that. Today's daily word is inspiration. I move in harmony with the creative flow of inspiration. Sometimes I feel inspired by the words of others, and sometimes I'm inspired more by action. Today, I take my inspiration from the story of Charles Fillmore, a businessman who marveled at his wife's complete healing from serious illness. This prompted him to embark upon an intense period of prayer, meditation, and study that led to the founding in 1889 of Unity, which has become a global spiritual community. I take this story to heart and find my inspiration in my feelings of awe and wonder, love, or even in healthy curiosity. Feeling an awakening of inspiration within me, I center my awareness in God. Divinely inspired, I move in harmony with the creative flow that blesses the work of my mind, my heart, and my hands. And from Job 32, verse 8, but truly it is the spirit in a mortal, the breath of the Almighty, that makes for understanding. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Pauline Duncan-Thrasher. Pauline has been a member of Unity of London since 2012. And as a prayer chaplain, Pauline leads us in prayer on Zoom at our 11 a.m. prayer time several times a week. She's a board member and a past president, and she's currently a co-member of our spiritual leadership team. Pauline is also studying to become a licensed Unity teacher. And so with her message today about lessons from leaders, part 2, please help me welcome our own Pauline Duncan-Thrasher.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. What a lovely message and a nice introduction. Today, the message is about lessons from leaders. And I invite you sometime today to stand up, look at yourself in a mirror. It doesn't have to be full length, could be a small mirror. And as you look at yourself, I invite you to identify within yourself the qualities of leadership that every single one of you has. And today, I'll be sharing some messages not only from biblical leaders, but leaders that we all know, leaders that we're all aware of. What are the traits of leadership that you can envision right now? If you were to give qualities of leaders, good leaders, might you mention this? Passion and vision. Leaders are so infused with passion that they are able to make sacrifices of time and energy because they believe in their vision. And their vision may be a world made better, as we heard in our mission statement, our vision statement. Their vision might be even to earn $1 billion. Their vision might be to help the poor, to find a way to visit the sick and bring comfort, to bring music to those who have no music in their souls. What is your vision? And do you have passion to maintain that vision regardless of challenges? What is your purpose? Why do you do what you do? And do you have enough conviction that no matter what people say or how they act, your vision and your purpose stay firm? These are 3 leaders who came to mind, all quite different. We know about Mahatma Gandhi. We know that his was a journey of peaceful but powerful leadership. We know that he was responsible for bringing independence to a nation, for righting many wrongs. We know that Winston Churchill was a powerful orator during World War II. That may or may not be your skill, and it doesn't really matter. You may have a passion that has nothing to do with speaking. Perhaps your passion and your vision is more peaceful. Or maybe you are more like a Mother Teresa. And we know a lot about Mother Teresa, but I found out something interesting in my research, that she managed to broker a temporary ceasefire between the Israeli army and Palestinian guerrillas to rescue 37 children who were trapped in a frontline hospital. That took courage, that took passion, and that certainly took conviction. She traveled through the war zone alongside Red Cross workers to take care of patients and make sure that those young patients were evacuated safely. I knew that she had spent 20 years in a convent teaching, and having had my own experience in convent life, I expect it was very peaceful and quiet. But she had a calling to leave that convent. And when she left the convent, she moved into the slums, where she faced hunger, poverty, and homelessness. Her passion and her vision carried her forward. There are many other leaders that you can think of. And I invite you to consider yourself among those leaders. You might not be famous, but you no doubt have courage and passion for something in your life. Last week, we talked about Martin Seligman, father of positive psychology. And I invited you to consider your signature strengths in the service of something stronger than you are, something bigger than you are. What are your signature strengths? I hope you did consider that. Sometimes as we mature, we have a new vision of ourselves. Has that ever happened to you? That you look in the mirror now, or you interact with your friends or family or coworkers or clients, and you sense in yourself different strengths than what you used to have. Maybe a solidification of strengths. I'll be quoting from the 12 powers as accelerated abilities, because this is the month of will, the month of choice. And you'll remember that it is our ability to choose. Sometimes we forget that. Do you ever think, well, I can't choose. I'm not choosing to be retired. I'm not choosing to be the age I am. I'm not choosing to live in COVID time. No, but you can choose how to respond to all of that. We have the ability to decide how we're going to act with other people, how we're going to act each day of our lives. To command not other people, to command ourselves, to lead, to determine. And that this power of will can come from two different spots, from ego or personality, or from elevated consciousness. From ego or personality, it's based on our senses, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Here's a little example. You have in front of you a big smorgasbord. One part of that smorgasbord are chunky chocolate chip cookies, yum. A healthy salad, a protein dish, either meat or vegetarian. Based on your senses, you have the choice to decide what you think would be best for you. You get to choose. You meet somebody for the first time, and you have a feeling that this might be your partner for life. You follow those feelings. You determine later on that it was absolutely the wrong choice. You get my drift, from ego or personality, to make life-enhancing choices or not. From elevated consciousness, our choices are based on ideas, truths, principles, and laws that are divine in nature. We get to choose and direct our thoughts and actions to be the best person or Christ we can be. Does this mean that you set aside all your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs? Absolutely not. We do have an ego, and there will be choices we make that are based on it feels good, it feels right, or we believe that this would be an ideal action to take. But we also have opportunities in all of our choices to ask ourselves, in this action, in this interaction, am I being the best person I can be? There are two ways that will develops. It can be underdeveloped. That ability to choose is underdeveloped. And how does that show up? We're indecisive. It's just too hard to make a choice. We're wishy-washy. We sit on the fence. I know that has been me on many occasions. And I've thought, Pauline, just make a decision. Then there's the overdeveloped will. You can probably guess what that looks like. Willful. You just want your own way all the time. And we've had leaders who did that. And you know how you responded. Obstinate. My way or the highway. Bossy. Always telling other people what to do. And once a decision has been made, very reluctant to even think about changing that decision. Now, I'm not suggesting that you are either underdeveloped or overdeveloped. Depends on your state in life. Depends where you are. I know that as a teacher, there were times when I was overdeveloped, times when I got downright bossy. Very rarely as a teacher was I underdeveloped. But in personal relationships, oh, underdeveloped for sure. And it costs big time. Can you relate with that? We go back to our ability to choose and determine. We get that power. We have that accelerated abilities. Does that make you feel excited? Or a little bit scared? Because with that ability comes responsibility. And now from the Bible. Again, leaders in the Bible hopefully had passion, vision, purpose, and conviction. Did they make life-enhancing choices? Some did, and some didn't, if you have read your Old Testament. But I chose today to take a look at a woman from the Bible that I hadn't heard about before, whose name was Deborah. If she's familiar, just raise your hand. Deborah was one of the very few women in the Bible who had a leadership position. You'll find her in the 4th and 5th chapter of the book of Judges. We learn that Deborah was called to deliver the Israelites from the Canaanites, and she was actually a judge. She was unique because she led by example. She was bold, she was assertive, and in many ways, she was also obedient in her personal and public life. She was not just a judge, and as you might guess, the judge was a negotiator who settled disputes. She was also a wife, a warrior, a prophetess, and a songwriter. We all have many hats. We all have many roles in life. And when we go to start interpreting the Bible, we can take out of that whatever suits us. So metaphysical interpretation is not just for scholars. You can read an exercise, you can listen about that person, read about that person, think about the character, and say, what is it about this particular character that I can use in my life? She also called upon a man called Barak to lead Israel's army into battle. He, to her surprise, said, I will only go into battle if you come with me. Have you ever been in a role where someone said, I'll only do something tough if you stand by me? I know some of you listening have been that companion in tough situations, and I applaud your journey. So take 2 acts. So what do we interpret? From Charles Fillmore. The name Deborah comes from Hebrew meaning bee, B-E-E. And we know that bees have a fine sense of discrimination. They know which flowers have the most honey. They're very active. She represents judgment based on spiritual discrimination. Sometimes when our intuitive sense of judgment and our power of understanding are rightly joined, we are victorious. The children of Israel in the Old Testament represent the real, enduring spiritual thoughts we have. And the enemies are the material, transitory thoughts. Deborah represents good judgment. The only way to overcome the opposition of poor judgment is to use our inner discrimination. When we're confronted with a problem, what's the first thing we do? What is the first thing good leaders do? Well, take a look at your spiritual guidance. And that same spirit of divine wisdom connected with our power to choose, lead, enables us to make great decisions. I wanted pictures because I like pictures. I like visuals. And you might take a look at the little girl up here and say, Pauline, we're talking about leadership. Yes, we are. Good leaders, to me, have a heavy, heavy dose of compassion. They want to alleviate suffering. They are not just bossy, obstinate people. And this little girl started early with a toy, taking care of the toy, bandaging up his eye. Within that little girl are the beginnings of leadership. When we love our pets, our furry friends, when we take time to help an animal, we're showing leadership. We're showing caring. We're showing heart. And when we visit with someone in a nursing home and reach out our hand or give a hug, even with our mask on, we are Mother Teresa in action. It's been hard to do that during COVID, not impossible. And if you have a young relative, I know that Peggy Matzer posted, I hope you don't mind me saying, Peggy, your little, I think it was your grandson or your nephew and you were camping. And that was 2 generations sharing joy, sharing love. Peggy chose that. She chose that connection. And leaders connect. At the beginning, I asked you, what are your strategic strengths? How do you see yourself as a leader? When you stand up and look in the mirror, do you see a leader? If you don't, I think you better take another look. I invite you to take a good close look and ask yourself, how am I leading? How can I lead? How can I use my signature strengths to be the best person I can be? And now we move into meditation. I invite you today to settle yourself in your chair, to plant your feet. Plant your feet, such a strange phrase. To position your feet so that you are connected with the solidity of the floor or the earth, wherever you are. I always love to stretch out your arms, to embrace the wonders of the universe. And there are wonders, and we can choose to see them. To be open to all that is wonderful. And if you had your eyes closed, I'd like you to open them again, because there was one leader that I want to read about, and you'll recognize him, Stephen Hawking. And I choose Stephen Hawking for our meditation because he spent most of his life severely disabled. And sometimes we consider ourselves, we think more of our disabilities than our strengths. He had to control his communication device through the muscles in his cheeks. But he was a physicist who proved that physical limitations don't have to hold you back. And this is what he had to say. If you are disabled, and I will add, if you think of yourself as disabled or weak or inferior, it is probably not your fault, but it's no good blaming the world or expecting it to take pity on you. One has to have a positive attitude and must make the best of the situation that one finds oneself in. If one is physically disabled, one cannot afford to be psychologically disabled as well. And Stephen Hawking went on to say, my disabilities have not been a significant handicap in my field, which is theoretical physics. Indeed, they've helped me in a way by shielding me from lecturing and administrative work that I would otherwise have been involved in, always with a sense of humor. If there is something about you physically that you think holds you back, take another look. If Stephen Hawking was capable of overcoming his physical limitations, even more so are we. And the World Day of Prayer says, all is well with my soul. The beginning of that says, no matter the circumstances, all is well with my soul. I give you a few moments as light and love and vitality flow through your body. As you breathe in, all the vitality, the spiritual strength. Breathe out any feeling of limitations. And should your mind wander, I invite you to repeat, no matter the circumstances, all is well with my soul. We can choose all is well with my soul. I'll let you know when our time is fulfilled. No matter the circumstances, all is well with my soul. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
So Pauline would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for that thought-provoking message. And the information that you provided about Deborah, I had never heard about her before. So I'm really interested in her and plan on just looking up doing a little research on her myself. That's really interesting. And one of the things that occurred to me too is a saying that I heard many years ago from a course that I was taking that indicated that suffering is in the indecision. If you waffle, if you're wishy-washy, if you can't make up my mind, then you are suffering because you just, you can't decide. And so sometimes it's just better to move on with it and make your decision and go with the flow. So thank you this morning for that great talk.
Choosing grace.
And so today, as that song said, we're choosing abundance and we're choosing heaven today. And so we take a moment to thank Source for our abundance, knowing many allow the supply to flow through them to Unity of London in the form of financial gifts and tithes. We thank those who give spontaneous gifts as they have a call upon their heart to do so. We see you receiving spontaneous spurts of prosperity as the energy returns to you. We thank those who give regularly in the form of a tithe. We see your understanding of the flow growing abundantly. We thank those who are new to us for giving to us of your time. We appreciate you and hope you will come back and consider being a member of our wonderful Unity community. And as this glorious flower-filled slide shows, you can now e-transfer your donation to unityoflondon@hotmail.com. But of course, there are other ways to participate as well, by check, by online donations. So just thanks in advance, and we choose to be prosperous at Unity of London. And so now we have our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Yay, God. So now we have our peace song. So as you go throughout this week, just be cognizant of the choices that you are making. Are you choosing to be abundant today? Are you choosing to be happy today? Are you choosing making choices that uplift you and other folks? So does anybody here today have any comments that they would like to share with Pauline about her talk this morning? Oh, Amber, if you can unmute yourself, please, Amber.
There we go. Thank you so much, Pauline. That was so perfect, so timely, so you. Thank you.
Thanks, Amber. Thank you.
Any other comments for Pauline this morning? Go ahead, Paula, please unmute yourself.
I was really interested in the choices. And I think at this time with the vaccines, choice is very important. And I've been looking at very much during this time of self-choice and choice that involves those around me, family, friends.
Unplugging it a little bit.
Go ahead, Paula. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Larry and Kathy are muted.
Yeah, okay. And I think we have to balance. And for me, balance becomes part of the choice. We have to balance what we can do with how it's going to affect other people. And I think we can see that happening in different states and different places. And it just increases, Pauline, my awareness of choice.
Thank you, Paula. Anyone else comments for Pauline this morning?
Maybe everybody wants to go outside.
Maybe they do that, and that's a beautiful choice to do today. Catherine?
I apologize for the interruption a minute ago. I forgot I wasn't muted. Yeah, I love what you talked about there, Paula. Pauline's talk really made me think of a lot of things too, in perspective to our unity beliefs. And as a leader, I think it's such a fine wire that we walk of our message. Like one thing I love about Pauline, especially as a leader, is that I never feel judged by her. I always feel like I have this space and the openness to be vulnerable with how I really feel. And Pauline, that is such a blessing to all of us, that you make everyone feel comfortable with. I'll just speak for myself, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. You're such a powerful leader in your compassion for others and for your not needing to be right. And
thanks.
I learned so much from you on that, because as you know, I love to be right. And I usually am, as Larry would say, I always am, but yeah, it was excellent food for thought, like Wilda said. So thank you. And I think right now, in these times that we're in, I don't know that they're unprecedented as much as they're very powerfully, it's powerfully obvious that we all need to come into alignment with who we really are.
Yeah.
And to first love ourselves for that, which makes us a very powerful leader in helping other people to follow our behavior and our actions rather than our words. Yeah, so I just thought you demonstrated that so beautifully today, Pauline, and I thank you deeply.
Oh, thanks, Catherine. And I don't want to divulge too much, but there are times when I love to be right too.
Well, don't we all?
Dan knows that.
Don't we all? And like I said, we usually are.
All right, anybody else?
Christina?
Sylvia, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Wilda. Thank you so much, Pauline. This was so very timely for me personally on so many levels, and I appreciated I appreciated so many things that I probably should have written down because they're gone now. But the last item was meditating with Stephen Hawking about the idea of if your body feels incapacitated, it's important that your psychology not becoming incapacitated as well. And I'm grateful, I guess, for unity practices around that. Although I have to say, sometimes it's a bit of a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah.
And just jumping on what Paula said about, the choices that we have to make right now that affect ourselves, that affect each other, without saying, that people should vaccinate or not, because I won't even go there. But I will say it changes your life. Please, you do not want this. I can't describe, it'd be too long to describe what's going on now. So whatever choices you are making to protect yourself and other people, and let it be from a higher place in that way, I would say it is worth it. Just, you do not want this. So
Thanks.
and
Thanks.
thank you for that wonderful message, Pauline, and for reminding me, I guess, of those practices Yeah.
Thanks, Sylvia Square. Hugs to you.
And to you.
It's so
George,
awesome that
do you have
Sylvia
something you'd
Square is
like
our
to-
platform assistant. That's, we welcome you.
Yeah. George, did you have something that you wanted to add? Did I see your hand?
I put my hand up, but I didn't, but just appreciate Pauline, your talk this morning. It was really great, and it
Oh,
always
thanks.
hits home for me and helps me out. Thank you.
Thanks, George.
It's good seeing this morning.
Good to see you and Barb too.
Catherine? Oh, you're muted, my friend. Nope.
I was just saying hi to Barb and George. Barb waved in the background. I just waved back.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, listen, everyone, have a great day today. And just know that you are making the most positive, beautiful choices. So just go forth and do that and have a great week. And we'll see you next Sunday.